favorite change that I made in my life is after losing a best friend of mine. I just really started to appreciate life, and I just tried to do everything that I could to just be a good person and just be there for others who are in need and stuff. And a friend of me and another close friend of hers, we actually made these bracelets that say our name, and we sold them around the school to our friends, and we raised $1,000 to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So I'm changing myself to be there for others and to just live and appreciate life and appreciate my parents and everything that they do for me and just love life.
I take it one day at a time, and like the first step I took was not to hang around my bad influence anymore.
And with that, we also have to remember how God's part in this is, even if we don't have a plan, we know that He's going to be there with us step by step, and that no matter what we decide to do, He's going to help us with that and support us.
God also gave us the people around us. They're there to help us change, and they're there for support, and they're there to push us along.
My one friend who was like going through all the hard times in her life, she started going to like a priest every week who would help her with her problems and all. And the priest like inspired her to like go on the right path, and that's what she does to get through everything.
I remember a long time ago, my friend's parents got divorced, and it was a really hard change for him because he really did not like his mom's boyfriend, but with God's help, he got through it, and even though he didn't like him, he still spent time with him, and with God's help, he prayed and he got through it.
And one thing that always helps me, no matter what I'm going through, is knowing that God's there every day with me. He's always by my side, walking along with me.
William James, author of The Principles of Psychology, writes that
man alone, of all creatures of the earth, can change his own pattern.
Man alone is the architect of his destiny.
The greatest discovery in our generation is that human beings, by changing their inner attitudes of their minds,
can change the outer aspects of their lives.
God designed us this way. He gave us the intellect and capacity to make changes that will reconcile us to Him.
It's our choice to decide which path to take, but the path to God is always there before us.
Ultimately, this is the path of true happiness and peace.
Next, Leah tells us that throughout this change, her relationship with God has grown.
The perks to this is that she's more joyful and more peaceful.
My life and my faith and my relationship with God before my conversion was, I didn't think about it a whole lot. I mean, I went to church on Sundays with my family. I was born and raised Catholic, but I didn't intertwine my faith with my friends and intertwine my faith with what I did on the weekends. And my relationship with God was more of this, well, He's way up there and I'm down here, so I don't know, I guess I'll see you later type of a thing. There was good moments. I had some moments where I felt like I was close to God, and I definitely love God. It's not that I didn't. And I wasn't raised by wolves. I had great parents and a great Catholic foundation. I didn't know how to make it real. Yeah. I definitely had a need and desire to be loved and wanted. It all depends on where you look for that. I was looking to the world. I was looking, at fashion. I was looking at Tyra Banks. I was looking at America's Next Top Model, at boyfriends, at my friends. The last place I looked was God. The last place I looked was my family. And overcoming that when I had my conversion was one of the biggest challenges, was realizing that I was worth Christ on the cross, that, He died for me and He loves me. And if He loves me that much and did all of that just for little old Leah, maybe my life is worth changing. So I had to refocus that need to be wanted and loved and put that focus on God. I was loving all these things prior that didn't love me back, that didn't give me anything back. But loving God and loving Him the way that He loves me is amazing. And so that type of relationship that I now have with Him is something that is very fruitful and definitely a lot more peaceful than my life before.
St. Augustine is an inspiration to many who desire to change their lives and live a life as a disciple of Christ.
Before his conversion to Christianity, he led a sinful and immoral life.
He later became not only a priest, but a bishop and a doctor of the church.
On this topic of change, St. Augustine has written, "Shape yourselves no longer to the standards of this world, but allow yourselves to be reformed by the renewal of your minds."
Next, let's go back to the teens on the street and find out if they think that our faith or the Bible can help us in any way to make positive changes in our lives.
I'm not really into faith and everything. I just feel like you do stuff based on your choices.
My faith basically guides me to the better person I want to be.
Some obstacles will come, but if you're true to your character and true to your faith, I think you can accomplish anything.
My faith definitely, it keeps me, stable. It really grounds me, and wherever I go or whatever I do, I know that I have my faith.
I don't want to look bad to God because I know He's always watching us. I don't want to put my morals down in front of Him.
Do you think that the Bible would be a good resource to use when contemplating making a change in your life? Why or why not?
The Bible is a good thing to read and everything because a lot of the scriptures actually do teach you lessons.
You can see how other people did in the Bible, what they did, you could do stuff like they did.
I'm not a big fan of it personally, but it works for some people, so if that's what you believe in, then why not?
The Bible has a lot of good information in it. It has a lot of good guidelines that are set forth for us Christians. So I think that it can really help us out, if you just, take time to notice what it's trying to say.
Scripture can be encouraging when we are challenged to make a change. In 1 Corinthians, we're reminded that
God is faithful and will not let you be tried beyond your strength.
But with the trial, He will also provide a way out so that you may be able to bear it.
Are there any scriptures or prayers that have helped you to make a change in your life?
How has your faith helped you? Well, I really love the prayer Footprints in the Sand. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's about this guy. So he sort of questions Jesus. He's like, wait, there's only one set of footprints, but I thought you said you'd walk with me. And he goes, that's when I carried you. And it's really comforting to know that even though I might make wrong decisions or not the best decision, that Jesus will always be there to carry me through my roughest time, and He'll always be there walking with me through the happy and joyful times.
Especially because, like you said, if your change ends up how it's supposed to be and it ends up going for the worst, God is there to be able to pick you up and carry you through it.
Well, my prayer, although it may be unorthodox to some, is talking as if God or Jesus is sitting right next to me and He's just listening and sitting there and accepting everything that I have. And I know that it's a comfort to know that even if no one's physically around me, God's always there with me.
I think a really awesome prayer for when you're trying to make a change in your life or trying to decide if you should make a change in your life is the Serenity Prayer. It's, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think it's a really good prayer because sometimes we don't know if we should be making changes or if we shouldn't, and we really need the guidance from God to show us that and give us the wisdom.
I especially like the part where it talks about having courage, because we sometimes know we need to make a change, but we also need the courage to make that change. Next, let's see what advice Leah has to those of us who are making deliberate change in our lives.
Trust me, I know how it is. I know when you feel like there's no hope. I know what it's like to feel like you can't get out of bed and you can't go on, and how could God ever even forgive you? And there's no way that you could even be worthy of forgiveness or heaven. But there is. You can change if you want to become a better person with Christ. I changed everything. I was that girl that totally screwed up in life and has come back from the dark side. I did things on the weekends that other people would be like, oh my gosh, can you believe what Leah did? But I refuse to do that anymore. I refuse to be chained by those lies and by those sins. I want something more. And I know that I'm meant for something more. So what do? For me, what I did, number one, I went to confession. There's graces to be had in the confessional. And so when I went to confession, I was able to let go of my pain. And that was a huge step because all that I was holding on to was let go. So all of those feelings that I had before were like flushed out. And then from there, I had to change those cognitive distortions, those lies inside my head that I believed of the world. And I had to straighten those out and be like, okay, you know what? That actually doesn't make me happy. And one of the things I learned after I, had my big conversion is that this isn't a one-shot deal. You don't just go back to the faith and then it's all done. It's a continual process, and I learn a little bit every day about something new in the faith that I didn't know before. And like any friendship or relationship that we have with anybody, you have to work on that. And so me and Jesus hang out a lot, and we talk, and I try and get to know him a little bit better, and I try to open up myself so that I can give more of myself to Him every day.
I think most people are scared of change, but change is something that we have to get used to, and it just makes us stronger. And it's important to change and to improve upon yourself and improve yourself with others. And I think it's just healthy to go through change.
Change is part of your life, and with every step that you take, God's with you.
Yeah, and like advice I have for other people would be surround yourself with people that love you, because you can't make a change by yourself. You need those people to support your decisions and to help you be a better person.
We also have to understand that the change doesn't have to be immediate, and the result won't also be immediate. It could take a while for us to actually see the change happen.
Well, my change is still a work in progress. You know, from time to time, I still get really angry at things that happen in life and people around me. But when these things happen, sometimes I just reflect and pray, and you know, God's always there for you, and so He can help you get over those things and help you get through the change.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta remember that God's there. He will carry you through everything. Making deliberate changes can be daunting.
Although the end result of the change may be positive, it is still a challenge to take the steps needed to make your transformation.
Some of the necessary steps may mean to cut off friendships with people who have been leading us down the wrong path,
or leading us away from God and His plan for us.
Other times, we may have to break sinful habits which have been hurting our relationship with God.
But with God on our side, we will gain the strength to transform ourselves.
Because as we read in the Gospel of Luke, for nothing will be impossible for God.
Have you made a deliberate change in your life? Would you like to share with us?
Contact us through our website or follow us on Twitter.
The address is RealfaithTV.com.
Finally, we are reminded in Philippians chapter 4 that God will give us the strength to change when we read,
I have the strength for everything through Him who empowers me.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.